Awesome. We are good to go. So, thank you once again, everyone, for joining in. Apologies for the delay. I think now we have a full house on the speaker side, we have a full house on the attendee side. So, we're good to go. Just waiting for another minute for people to just flow in. Meanwhile, for those who haven't heard about the workshop series, very quickly telling you, I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces. So, sharing why we're starting off this new workshop series. You've attended a bunch of sessions with us earlier, but the idea here is how can we bring more of these hands-on sessions that are important for product managers, starting off with product analytics. So every quarter you will see a new topic coming up. This one's on analytics. Next one we're trying to do something on the design side. So hope you guys enjoy it. It's the first one that we're starting with, and thanks to Mixpanel, who I think Path will go deeper into. But I think this is something that we hope is exciting for you guys as well. And just to give you all a brief intro, we have over 800 registrations on this one. So we're splitting it into two. This particular session will cover a good intro into product analytics. We have a nice case study that Rafael here has prepared for us. And towards the end, we have a quiz, which is a little more hands-on. So you guys get to play around with the mix panel, and we have exciting prizes thanks to the team here. So do stay tuned, and we'll also share a feedback form towards the end that you guys could share, how this session was, what you'd like to see in the next one. And if you guys have been following, we just launched another event yesterday. It's called Brands Decoded. So do definitely check that out. It's for the D2C space in India. And without further ado, I know everyone's waiting for this. Handing it over to Path to walk you guys through today's agenda, an intro into the community, and then handing it over to our panel and the mixed panel team here. So Path, over to you. And thanks so much once again.
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for joining in. So a lot of familiar faces, but still a few new ones. So I'm Parth, and I represent the product folks. Just a quick intro about the community. Product folks is a volunteer-driven community of product managers, designers, marketers, all things product basically. We are an 18-month-old community, just been a while for us, but we've already grown to 50K across the globe. And so apart from these events that you keep attending with us, we have a bunch of initiatives. We have a free resource library for product managers called Learn PM with Me. You guys can check it out. The link will be shared in the chat. We have an e-professional connect network tool, which is called grabchai.online, which matches you with an appropriate person every weekend. And last month, I think if you guys would have attended, we also organized large conferences called the Product Summit. A very similar one coming in December called Brands Decoded. Hope to see you guys there as well. So coming to today's agenda, we'll have a quick intro about the mixed panel team who are there with us today. There are three folks, and then Rafael will probably take us through a deck explaining about product analytics, as Suhas mentioned. There will be a case study later where you guys will be participating. There will also be some interaction on Slido. A Slido link will be shared on the chat shortly. Separately, we have a surprise for you in the end. Actually, two surprises. One from TPF and one from Mixpanel, which you guys can avail simply because you joined today. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining in this kind of support. I see a lot of folks on the count is great today, and that too on a weekday sort of a thing. And this supports us a lot, and we are very, very grateful to you guys for this. Coming to the Mixpanel team, we have Rafael. Rafael is a solutions consultant for Mixpanel in the APAC region. So his major job is to sort of evangelize product analytics everywhere around the world. So during this preparation, I've learned so much already. And then we have Serene. Serene is marketing lead for the APAC region for Mixpanel. She basically coordinates with communities like us to sort of evangelize Mixpanel and grow the community for product analytics. And yeah, Nishit is also sort of a supporter for TPF, and he's a great friend of ours. And Nishit looks at business for the APAC region. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. This has been this partnership is great for us and for our community to learn from the experts. And from there on, I'll probably hand it over to Rafael, who will take it forward from this point. Over to you, Rafael.
All right, thanks, Path. Hi everyone, very excited to be here. So let us begin by sharing my screen. All right, thank you everyone for joining today's session. And we'll be having a session about understanding product analytics with us, Mixpanel. So a short introduction about myself. I'm Rafael, the solution consultant in Mixpanel. And as you can see here, I like to dabble with a lot of stuff apart from my regular job. So apart from analytics, I'm very into entrepreneurship. I love cooking, and I always have this idea of owning a food product that it looks good and also tastes good. So what you can see on the right is actually a hobby or a small business that I have, whereby I create healthy spreads or nut butters, whereby it balances the flavor and the healthiness such that it meets the needs of the different customers. So I know it's a bit far-fetched when I do IT and food, but this is what I am. So for today's agenda, there'll be 3 key things and 3 takeaways for today. The first thing I would like to cover is what is product analytics. And this is absolutely important because there has been a lot of confusion, like the differences between product analytics, market analytics, and also BI tools. Second on the agenda, I will use a case study to show you the product analytics in action on how, as product managers, we are able to look at insights and actually take action. Last but not least, it might be the most important thing for everyone, is actually a quiz and a take-home exercise. And if you can see there's a coin pouch there, it's because we will be selecting a couple of you guys who did the best to take home some cold hard cash. So please stay tuned to the end of this webinar and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So let me first begin by explaining what product analytics is about and what is it. So before I begin, we actually did a quick review or a quick interview with some of our colleagues, family and friends, and let us take a minute to hear what they have to say about product analytics.
Rafael, we cannot hear the audio.
Yeah,
all right.
audio. You might have to share just that screen.
Is it better?
No, I think you might have to just share this particular slide. I think when you share it.
Sorry, I beg your pardon? Could you say that
Is
again?
this like a YouTube video?
Yes, okay, yeah, it is. Still, let me hold on and see if I can get this.
Rafael, can you do it without using your earphones? Maybe the.
Okay, sure. Might be better. All right, just give me a second.
And if you're sharing your entire screen, you might have to just share this particular window. So you can stop sharing the entire screen.
Okay.
And while you select what to share, just select this particular screen to share.
Just hold on a second.
Yeah.
Is it better now, the sound?
Yeah, we can hear it. We can hear it now. Thanks.
Connect your APIs and
programming that determines analysis. I don't know what the hell it means.
data sets and run big data machine learning.
It's the data capture, it is the analysis.
Kodiak, what is product analytics?
All right. Thank you so much. Just give me a second and get my headphones back in. All right. So thank you for watching the video. As you can see that product analytics has been pretty new, at least in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's still a difficulty for people to understand. And I mean, our colleagues and our friends of colleagues have given it a try, and it's still a big jargon. So, all right, let me head back to the presentation mode. So, the reason companies use product analytics is to actually better understand how their product caters to their users. And this is a very important keyword, and I will explain in the next few slides why. So if we look at building a better product, the reason why it's so challenging to use product analytics or to understand it is because most of the times when we are very new as PMs, we tend to always focus to build on new features, sexy features, but they do not actually cater to your users. And that's the key. The key takeaway is that when we are building product, it's always for someone, and they are your users. So what makes product analytics extremely difficult to achieve? Sorry, I hear a bit of keyboard at the back. Is it all right if we go on mute? Okay, thank you so much. So the first problem about making it so difficult to achieve or build better product is number one, a lot of us, when we are innovating or building new features, we are not looking at how the users discuss information, and thus it's not user-centric. So building a better product without first understanding who or what your users are usually causes all these new and very sexy features to become very obsolete extremely quickly. So this is something we need to take note and always be aware. And if we are always falling into this trap of looking at the best or the nicest features but not understanding how your users are adopting it, this will not actually do any good. And the second problem is this. In Mixpanel, we actually sent a survey to a huge group of PMs in India, and it's very astounding to see that 43% of them actually said that the current analytics tools provided by their companies actually aren't designed for product teams. So what this means is that if you are using the wrong tool, this becomes a huge barrier to effectively understand or measure your product analytics or product metrics. So this will make your work much more complicated, and you might not actually get the insights that you actually want. So now, let's address the elephant in the room. Most of us have the confusion, or when we speak to PMs, they will always ask us, so what is the difference between product analytics, marketing analytics like Google Analytics, and BI tools like Tableau and Click? So two key things. The first thing we need to see is what kind of questions are you trying to answer? And the second thing, do you want these insights to be very self-serve for the product teams? Or do you always need to go to your IT team to request for such reports? So to kickstart between the differences, let me first focus on what these three different tools are made for. So product analytics are definitely made for product teams, as you can see, is product analytics. And this really helps you to understand user behavior in real time and provides you the ability to explore how users interact, convert, and retain on the platform. So by understanding how your users move around in your application, they are inadvertently giving you information on how your product should work. Moving on to the center column, we have marketing analytics. So, and this is usually things like Google Analytics or off-the-shelf analytics that marketing tools provide. So these tools provide marketers the need to understand usually in the first part of the user journey. So this means it's around the acquisition, the source of traffic, and potentially the campaign performance. But it does not tell you the how and why. As for BI tools, these are made for data analysis. No doubt they can run very complex reports or address a lot of questions. The problem is that this requires very strong technical knowledge, and this would not be suited for a wide variety group of users. And with that, they are usually not built to track user behavior within the product. It gives you information in real time to take action immediately. So to help you understand better, let me go through with you what kind of questions can these different products help you to answer. So let's first focus on the product analytics column. So the kind of questions that you will look or help to answer will be, who are your power users? And what kind of behaviors do they differ from your other users? Following that, why do some users convert and why others don't? Third, how does retention differ from a user cohort? Is it higher or lower when people are engaged with a particular product feature? So this helps you to understand if certain feature resonates better to different group of users. More than that, we also have what are the top drivers for user engagement and retention. And this will help you answer how and why users are being retained longer in your platform and why certain users are dropping out. Last but not least, which is extremely important, as part of the product innovation, we tend to release new features to actually cater to your new users. So product analytics also helps you to measure the user adoption and if this new feature is positively having a good impact on certain key KPIs. So that's what product analytics is for you. Now, moving on to marketing analytics. The kind of questions it tries to help you answer revolves around what or which traffic are my users coming from? So is it like Google? Is it Facebook? Next, we have it's what are my users' bounce rates, sessions, and average session time. So this is very good information, but it still does not give you the why users are staying longer or shorter. Third, we also have, what is the number of page views, time to site, and completed actions, and also the campaign performance. So if we look at this kind of questions, we can see that it's really focused on the top of the funnel, where the users come in to your product, but it does not tell you the user flows, the journeys, and the in-depth analysis across different platforms or devices. So it doesn't really fully address what you might want to find out. Last but not least, we have BI tools like Tableau and Click. So the good thing about this is that BI tools can address a huge variety of questions like monthly active users, daily active users, conversion rate, and a lot more. But the main downside is that if we are giving this platform to a user that is not technical savvy, this makes it very difficult for them to derive insights they need on the go. And thus, this points back to the second problem, where a lot of PMs are not using the right tools to derive the insights that you want. So, if we look at the last row, is it self-serve for product teams? So the good thing about product analytics is that the way it is built, it gives product managers the flexibility to slice, dice reports through drag and drop, and all this information comes out live for you to take action and create hypotheses to make sure you're getting the information you want. As for marketing analytics, most of the reports are off the shelf, but when it comes to customizations and in-depth granularity of reports, that's where it creates a huge problem. Last but not least, for BI tools, we can see that it's a great tool, but it requires a lot of technical skills, and sometimes a bit of delay and minor changes can be a bit difficult to achieve. So, to summarize, product analytics, it's really about focusing on answering the user and product related questions with ease immediately without the need of SQL or technical knowledge. So this is what product analytics is built for. And we are looking at marketing analytics. What we can see, it really focuses on the up top and the bottom of the funnel. So this does not address the center portion, which tells you why and how. The BI tools, it answers a huge range of topic or questions with different data sets, but the problem is it requires strong technical knowledge. So now we are done with the boring part, and now we'll show you how product analytics work in action. So to give you a bit of context, let's use a case study to show you how product analytics can help companies. So let's imagine we have Bollywood Streaming Co. And this is a subscription-based video streaming. So imagine like Netflix. And this allows users to watch a wide range of videos from different genres. So for this company, they offer users a trial period of 30 days. And if they enjoy watching it, they can always subscribe after the trial ends. So Bollywood Streaming wants to better understand how their users are moving across the platform to improve their product, to help better drive conversions and longer retention time. So first, let us go through the key challenges that are facing and how we can address them later on the reports. So for the first challenge, they would like to understand the kind of behaviors that helps users convert from free to paid. And because if you're moving from free to paid, this will help in terms of the revenue. Moving that, they find it extremely difficult to understand what kind of videos or videos that users want to watch that forces them or makes them willing to pay from free to the upgraded plan. So with different devices across apps these days, you have the web, you have the mobile, it is very important to understand how your users are using across different devices to cater better user experience across these platforms. Fourth, they want to know how users and where they are actually dropping off in the user experience process, from searching for videos, rating it, and liking them. And last but not least, they would also want to understand which part or which area of videos that drives video plays, especially when they're recommendation from the playlist, from the favorite thing, and the main page. So with that, let's head over to Mixpanel to see the kind of insights we can derive from our users. All right, so what you can see here is actually Mixpanel platform. And for those who are not familiar, I would like to give you a quick introduction on what this report is about. So in Mixpanel, we have something called flows, and flows helps you to understand your user's digital experience across different devices. So as you mentioned earlier, one of the key challenge Bollywood streaming faces is to understand the behavior your user has when they actually, or before they actually upgrade the plan. So what I've done here, I've actually, let me just create from new to show an example. I would select a goal event, which is the upgrade of plan. And what I want to do is to analyze what are the key steps my users take before they start to pay. So this gives me a very good idea on the series of different paths my user would take before they pay. So for this case, let me highlight to understand what are the top paths my users take. And what we can see here, before my user upgrades the plan, they tend to download a video to watch offline. They play a video, they rate and like the videos. So these are the behaviors that my users exhibit most commonly before they start paying. So with that, let's first hit to the first question, and we'll take a poll to see what are the next step of actions you would take and the insights you can derive from. So right, let's hit to the poll on Slido and see what. Okay, so if you head to the chat, as you can see here, paths have shown you the Slido link. Please click on that, and that's where you are able to look and give your answers. So let me head back to the screen. So with this insights like this, what do you think would be the best next course of action, and what can you do with such insights? So let's give it a minute or so for you to understand what this flowchart is about before you give your answers. And do take note, there isn't really a right or wrong answer, but there is usually, I would say, a more preferred answer for you to take the best course of action.
You can also type in your thought process in the chat, and Rafael might have a look at that.
All right. Okay, let me have a quick look at the chat to see if there are any questions. Okay, the slide, it's not clear.
Rafael, you might have to keep the Mixpanel screen on.
Sure.
We might just shout out some questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you could zoom in a little, if that's possible.
No problem.
Perfect. Rafael, do you want to walk them through what they're seeing on the screen once again, just in case, like, what is this flow like, just to help the bunch? And guys, if you have any questions, feel free to share your opinions in the chat section. For folks who are new to this, feel free, as in there are, like Rafael mentioned, no right or wrong or stupid question. Every question is welcome. We're all learning together in this session.
That's right. Okay, so let me first elaborate what this is about. So the goal is to understand the behaviors that my users exhibit before they actually start paying the subscription service. So what you can see here, this is the top paths that my users take before they pay. So from here, what we can see is that most of my users rate the video, like a video after they watch, play a video again, download the video to watch offline before they decide to upgrade the plan. So with this sort of report, what can you do with such insights? So as the poll says, we have a wide variety. One, you can improve your onboarding flow during the trial session to encourage users to rate and download videos to potentially, try to drive them to upgrade. The second choice we have is to lower the price of the subscription plan to encourage your users to upgrade the plan. Or the third choice we have is to potentially build a new feature to recommend videos for your users to watch offline. After the poll, I will go through each and every of the choice and explain to you why this makes sense and why some of them doesn't make sense.
So, Rafael, we have almost like 75 votes already in on Slido. You can check and probably show the results to everyone.
All right. Okay. So
Can you zoom this one?
Let me just send it in and check the polls. All right. Okay. All right. So we have most of the polls in. So I would see that that's very good. So from the look of it, the most preferred approach would be improving onboarding flow during the trial to encourage users to rate and download videos. And 83% of the attendees here are selecting this, which is amazing. So, right, let me explain why the first choice would be the most relevant or the best course of action. So, let me head back to this chart. As we can see that these are the actions that my users exhibit to pay for a service. What this report is trying to tell us is that there is a very high chance of conversion if users are performing these actions. So as a PM, if I'm able to create an automated onboarding journey during a 30-day trial period to get users or push users to perform these key actions, there is a very good chance that they will actually pay for the plan because they are actually using the full value of your platform to actually see the value to start paying. So that is why the first choice would be the best choice out of the three. So moving on, the second question, the second choice we have, it's...
Rafael, before you move to the second one, so sorry to interrupt. We have one or two questions on this particular slide that you had shared.
Right.
Just raising two for you. I think the first one Maitri asked is around, does this dashboard also highlight if the base is too low? Does that matter? When they say like the percentage of it, is there a number here on how many absolute numbers we're looking at?
All right.
Does that matter?
Sorry, I'm trying to find the question. May I know where is it at so that I can...
It's in the chat, yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay, let me see. All right, okay. Does a dashboard highlight if the base is too low, let's say 55% of downloads? All right, that's a good question. So, firstly, take note, this is definitely a dummy data. So usually the data will be a bit more relevant. So I think this will be very subjective and we need to first understand that there is a wide variety of paths that your users might take. So flows is a very general idea first to understand your user's most natural path. So this could be one of the ways to first have a good understanding on the most common paths your users take before they pay. So 55%, I wouldn't say it's slow. However, if let's say from this we are seeing way more steps like 22%, 10%, then definitely we need to actually drive further into this data to understand if this makes sense. Okay, so let me look at other questions. All right, so is this for total users or unique users? So this is showing the unique users going through the flow. Right, let's take a couple more. Okay, so Samkap Kumar asks, why are users liking or rating videos before watching their videos? Okay, so if we look at this, right, I'm actually only looking at the previous 5 steps, but if we look before that, a bit further down, we can actually see that users are playing a video first before they dislike, they search for a video they want, click on a recommended video, and so on and so forth. So there are many ways where you can look further through the flow, but we're just looking at the last 5 steps. So hopefully this clarifies. All right, let me take a couple more questions. Okay, so what sort of tools are there for product and growth flow individuals who sort in a way are responsible for the whole funnel? Okay, so this question is very important. For Mixpanel or product analytics, we actually have a lot of value for both the product and growth teams because it's all about perspectives. So for example, if we look at the flow like this, for product managers, it could be about planning onboarding flows to get users to this stage. However, for growth teams, if we know that these are the steps that get users to upgrade, this would be catered towards, planning the right or engaging your users through like push notifications or email to perform certain key actions or remind them to perform these key actions before the trial ends. So the good thing about this, it's really about how you're going to use user analytics to drive both product innovation and also better marketing engagement. Okay, last question. Okay, without doing qualitative analysis, how can we be sure about this? All right, so for this, definitely this would not give you a direct confirmation about the hypothesis. So what we will need is definitely a series of reports within Mixpanel before you can come into the conclusion. So with that, there's one more thing I would like to go through. So for the subsequent posts, I will try to go through why the other choices it's not really the best one. So I saw that a couple of you guys actually selected that lowering the price of subscription to encourage conversion would be one of the viable options. So it's definitely not wrong, but what's interesting to see is that despite lowering the price of the subscription or the plan, this does not really relate into any insights in the report for you to take the next course of action. So from here, we can't really tell if price is a determining factor for a user to go from free to paid. So hopefully that clarifies. All right, so now let's move on to the next report. So in Bollywood streaming, one of the key concerns or one of the key things is to understand the user experience. So in the video streaming industry, as you can see, we can watch videos, play the video, we can rate and we can like. So some of you might ask, why is rating and liking the video so important to a product manager in the video streaming industry? So in the video streaming industry, if you realize, most of the popular videos or users tend to watch videos with higher social proof. So this means if I see a new video which I've never seen before, and I see like 4 stars or 5 stars, and there is like a huge number of likes, there's a very good chance that I will start exploring this particular video to start watching it. And that's why a funnel like this is very important to the product manager. So with this, I actually set a series of steps, and those who are not familiar, funnels in Mixpanel allows you to create a step-by-step basis, whether in a specific order or any order, to understand where your users are dropping off and converting. So with that, you should be able to see a funnel like this and the overall conversion from the time a user clicks a recommended video, play the video, to the end of the funnel. So with that, you can see that most of the drop-offs happen right before the rating of videos. As we know, most of us, after watching videos, we can't be bothered to actually like or rate. But what's very interesting to see that is that the conversion is actually still very high, despite the common thing that we don't rate videos for this company. So with that, The next step I want to do as a product manager is to understand why are my users, at least for this funnel, and what is really driving them to rate videos and like videos for my current business. So now we have the next poll, and let's head on to there and see what can you do or how can you actually further analyze this information. So let's see this poll. So we have 3 choices, as you can see here, and let me head back to the Mixpanel report. So the first choice is, one way we can do it is to further analyze this funnel between the different platforms like mobile and web to see if is it really because of the ease of use that drives your users to rate and like videos, or would it be the choice of further analyzing where your users are watching the video from, which lead them to rate and like. So let me explain this a bit further. If we go into platforms like Netflix, you can see that Netflix always recommends different videos everywhere. They have like top videos for the week, they have recommended videos for you, and there are also your favorites based on what you've watched. So this choice is about seeing if the relevancy of videos actually leads the user to rate and like. The third choice is to analyze each step, how long it takes for your users to convert, as per this, to see if the length of time affects them to rate or like the videos. So let's give a minute for you to analyze, and we'll check back the polls in a minute or so. Hopefully all the PMs are getting some brain work here, and hopefully this is interesting. Any questions from the ground so far?
Nothing on this particular slide. I think we'll probably limit it to 1 question or 2 questions so that we can get through the next.
Sure, no problem. Okay, let's hit back to the polls. Okay, so out of these 3 choices, I would say the most preferred or the most sound one would be the second one. And let's see, correct, is to further analyze the click-through of a source to see where your users are clicking the videos. And the reason is this: the more relevant the videos are, the higher chance a user will be engaged in social engagement like rating and liking. And that's why usually this drives the sort of social actions on different platforms. So why does mobile and web platform doesn't work? I would say it doesn't work. It's a good way to see if the ease of use drives users to rate and like due to the ease of use. However, what's really interesting is this. If I break it down by the platform type, in most cases, the liking and rating will be very similar across mobile and web, because liking and commenting is actually relatively simple. And this does not really tell you much about if social engagement is related to platform, unless of course it skews a lot depending on where you place the liking and comment on your page. However, in the video industry, what has been proven is that a lot of our customers actually want to understand how are their users clicking on the videos that get them to watch. And very interestingly, if you see this report, the highest conversion usually tends to lie when users search for the video they intend to watch for that particular day, which lead them to actually rate and like the video, because this is what they want to watch. And apart from that, we can see that usually, when users recommend it to them, it's not as good as compared to the main page where it shows different videos for the week. So this is one way to look into insights to understand if the relevancy of videos might lead to social engagement. All right, let's take a look if there are any questions before I move on. All right, so Aman Malik says that the time interval shown in the bars is too high. Is it due to dummy data? Okay, that's a very good question, and this is something that I will cover next. And that's a very good point. All right, before that, let me take one more. Can you please elaborate on NSM and KPIs used in this product? So I believe what you're trying to see is what is the KPI of this report. Okay, so the KPI report is to really understand, the key drop-off points and understand why or what drives users to rate or like. Because as explained earlier, in the streaming industry, social engagement actually drives users to watch videos they have not watched before and to explore new videos. So the next thing I would like to cover is this. So, as one of you point out, there is actually one problem or a couple of problems with this funnel. And the next poll will give you 3 choices to point out what could be the potential problem or issue with this report. So right now, let's hit to the poll. Okay, so this funnel looks good, yes, but there's something wrong with it. Could you explore or find out what's actually wrong? So I will bring you to the point to give you a clue what's wrong with this particular report. So let's take a minute before we check out the polls. Okay, let's check the polls now. All right, let's wait for a few more people to give their thoughts on this before I'll explain why. So there's something wrong with this report, what it is. So the clue lies with somewhere around here. All right, let's head back to the polls and check what would be the answer. All right. Wow, some people choose nothing is wrong. It's a trick question. Wow, I'm surprised.
Rafael, while you're on the Slido link, please could you just zoom in a little when you're on this screen? Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so there's a good reason why this is a 50-50. So actually both the problem with the report I've shown, right, actually lies in both the choices. So let me explain why. So if we look at this report, if we analyze when a user, watches a video, rate and like, usually this happens within one session. So if we give a user too long, a user may like or comment on another video. So the first thing to address this problem or in this report is to change the conversion window into a single session. So that will be the first step, and you can see the conversion actually reducing from 40-something% to 21%. So the next thing, remember I mentioned to you that in like YouTube or Netflix, a lot of us actually don't read or like videos, and the conversion is usually very low for industries like that. So that is where, when we look at the poll again, it says here that the conversion funnel does not determine if the user comments or rates the same video after they watch that particular video. So what this means is that in this funnel, a user can watch video X, but rate and like a video on comment Y. So in order to address this problem, what we need to do is in this conversion criteria, we need to hold the video title constant throughout this funnel. So this means now, okay, let me just change this because it's dummy data. So let me just use a day to at least show you some results. So if we look at this, right, by holding the video title constant, we are ensuring that from step 1 to step 4, the video being watched, rated, and liked is actually the same video. So when we actually change this, now you can see that for a video streaming industry, the report or the overall conversion, it's much more alike to what it's supposed to show. And we can see that after a user watches and plays the video, you can see that the rating and liking of video drops or plummets a lot. So sometimes reports can be too good to be true, and we might need to take a look and pay attention to this key thing to making sure that we are running much more accurate reports to give you the right results. All right, let's take a look at some of the questions here on the chat. Can you show the funnel, please? Okay, I've shown it earlier. Sorry about that. All right, so no questions. Let me head on to the next one. So, in the video streaming industry, one of the things I would like to understand, is to find out how my users are watching videos across the different devices. And with this report, I've selected the video play event, and I'm breaking down to understand where are my users watching that. So with this report, this tells me that majority of my users are actually watching on the mobile phone, as seen in iOS and Android, and not as many users are watching on the web. However, the next report shows me something very interesting. Now, on the next report, what I'm showing is to understand what is the average amount of time a user watch on per video on the platform. So as you can see here, despite users watching more on the mobile and less on the web, what's interesting to see is that the amount of time spent on the video for the web is actually way much higher, which is around 90 minutes, as compared to users watching on the mobile phone on 40 minutes. So what does the report like that tell me? Let's head on to the poll and let's see what your thoughts are. Okay, so we have this. Let me head back to the reports. So the first choice, it could be users don't have a very good experience on the mobile, and that's why they're watching longer on web. The second choice would be users are watching on mobile more often because when it comes to the web, they can actually relax, like sit on a chair, on the sofa, and watch as long as they want. For the third choice, it could be because users tend to watch videos, at least in the common trend, usually on the go. So instead of watching at home, most of them like to watch videos on transport as they're traveling to work or back from work. And perhaps, short series, instead of like a movie of 2 hours long, could be recommended to your users to fit their duration time. So let's wait a minute before we check the polls. Any questions up to this point?
None yet. I'll let you know in case we get something.
All right. Hopefully this is not too easy for the PMs here. All right, let me switch to the other report. Okay, let's check the polls to see how many of you guys answered. All right, let's give it a while more. Okay, let's hit back to the polls and see the results. All right, not too bad. So out of these three choices, I would say the first and second choice, which is around 50-50, would be the most sound answer. So the reason why this would not be the best answer in terms of users not having a good experience is because that's not necessarily true. If we look at the trend these days, right, a lot of us tend to be, it's a mobile era, and most of us tend to watch videos, as we are traveling, usually on the train where, we are commuting to work. And at the same time, when you're home, you definitely have the, they call it, the time factor for you to relax. So what this tells me is that this report tells me that when you're at home, you're able to relax and you can watch as long as you want. And that's why this is what the report tells you. And at the same time, it is also true that users these days watch when you commute. And what you could do as a PM is to potentially build like a recommendation, a feature to recommend short films if you know users are watching on mobile. And when they are home, you could have a wider variety of recommendations that has longer video time, like movies. So this is what the insights tell us about. All right, the last question, and this could be a bit interesting. So very interestingly, in the video streaming industry, users can be quite indecisive to decide if they should pay for the subscription. However, when there comes a very popular video like Game of Thrones, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's actually a very popular series whereby a lot of users are willing to pay to watch new releases on time, like every week on Monday, and watch it in high definition. So in Mixpanel, we have a report called Signal, where it helps you to understand correlational analysis. So as you can see here, I'm finding all users in a certain time period. I want to understand, this is actually a segmentation or cohort which I've created, how my users who paid in the last 30 days is correlated to the top videos that they are playing. So if we run the correlational analysis, we can see that, okay, these are the top videos that has a strong correlation that gets your users from the free plan to the paid plan. And at the same time, this is actually rarely performed by your current user groups. So the question is, you want to understand which videos are causing your users to pay from free to the paid plan. So from a report like this, what action as a product manager can you actually take? With that, let's head on to the poll and see how or what's the next course of action. So the first choice is to create a segment of users that watch these popular videos that cause them to convert or pay and promote the paid plan to them. The second one, you could actually include all these popular videos across your applications, both mobile and web, to let your users be aware that you're providing a premium service for all this new series. Last but not least, if you're generous enough, you can actually sign up for a paid Mixpanel plan to run your analysis for your product right now. This is a very difficult question. So let's check out. Okay, let's give it a while more for people to give their thoughts on this. Any questions so far?
So far, so good. We'll let you
Okay.
know something comes up.
All right, no problem. All right, let's check the polls again. Okay, let's give it a slightly a while more. So let me just summarize this report again. I'm looking at the correlation to understand the top videos by users who paid or went from free to paid in the last 30 days to understand the type of videos they're watching. So there's a strong correlation with this amount of videos. And take note that with this strong correlation, that is actually rarely performed by your current overall user group. So what does this mean and what we can do? Let's head back to the polls and see the results. Okay, so if we look at this tree, and this is very interesting. So the top choice is to create a segment of users that watch these videos to promote a paid plan. I would say this will come out second in my choice for a few reasons. So the first one, this would fall under more of a marketing or engagement manager, where it requires you to send email campaigns to engage your users. But this is definitely quite a good choice because you're letting your users be aware of it. So my top choice for a product manager, the best thing I could do is to include all these videos in your banners within your application to drive interest. So if we look back at the report, the reason why this has a strong correlation and is rarely performed by a user group, in Mixpanel through machine learning, we know that these videos have a high conversion rate, but your users aren't aware of this. So if you're able to get your users be aware of you being able to provide a service of this premium videos or paid videos in HD and be released on time, there is a very good chance that users who are interested in them will go from a free to paid plan. So this is what the report tells us about. And I think a few of you want to say start paying to run analysis right now. Hopefully this is true. Serene, just take note of this 9% of people and please reach out to them after this webinar. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at questions. Okay. Well, I can see a lot of people helping us to market Mixpanel. Any questions for this? Seems like this webinar is too easy. Okay, found a few. So one of them is asking that what values of correlation does Mixpanel call strong versus weak? Okay, so for a report like this, it definitely has a much deeper depth in terms of calculation using correlational analysis. So in the coefficient sort of statistical modeling, it always ranges from -1, 0, and to 1. So the more it is, it definitely shows a stronger relationship. So how are we able to tell? This actually goes through a series of experiments of the back end to give you the results you want. However, if you're really interested, feel free to head to our help doc in Mixpanel under Signal, and this gives you a white paper or a further explanation on how we run such calculation. All right, one more last question? How to track time-related metrics on, for example, average time a new user completes onboarding or he stepped into the product the first time? That's a very good question. So this would be a little bit off the report, but I'll be happy to go through. So if we are looking at the onboarding funnel, we'll be using a funnel report like this. And let me go through like the registration process, just for example. So assuming this is an onboarding funnel and you want to understand how long a user takes, all you need to do is change this report into time to convert. And okay, let me just change it's dummy data. So let me just change the interval to shorter time so you are able to actually see or understand what this means. Okay, let me change to 5 minutes. Okay, so if you're looking at time-related data, what this gives you is the distribution of your users on how long they're taking in terms of completing this onboarding process. So from here, it says that we have 24% of the users that takes roughly around 0 to 5 minutes to complete this funnel, and majority of the users are completing it within 10 to 15 minutes. So this is how we are able to actually look at time-related analysis to look at the time taken it takes for users to complete a funnel like that. All right, there are definitely a lot more questions, and I understand that this session might not cover the depths of the different reports any further. So if you're really interested, please stay back and join the, the sit around session for me to join and talk to you further, or feel free to schedule a meeting with us where I can explain to you the depths of our platform a little further.
Yeah. So, Rafael, you do not take the backup question, right?
Sorry?
Do you
Oh, is there-
want do you want to take the last question or not?
Okay,
Or
last
we
question.
move to the audience questions?
Oh, okay. So why do you think 20 to 30 minutes has 0% conversion, surprisingly? All right. So unfortunately, this is dummy data. So this means that we have no users that actually take longer than 20 minutes to actually complete this funnel. So there are times where we go past a certain time span. It's really too long for our users to complete that and task. This could be a reason why it did not show. Or alternatively, this could be a result of the maximum we have set. So if we actually tailor this to 120 minutes, give me a second, we should be able to see more users. That, okay, let me change to 90. Yeah. So, yeah, there we can see there is no one taking longer than 20 minutes afterwards. All right, so back to you, Path.
Yeah. So, guys, if you have any specific questions, you can add to the questions tab, and maybe the rest of the folks can help us prioritize based on the upvotes. I'll probably take the ones that are already there based on the upvotes, and I'm not sure if Rafael has answered some of them already, but just this is a generic question, Rafael, that is coming up. How big a role does product analytics play during the design process?
All right,
Any
great.
light on that? Yeah.
All right, so this is an interesting question. So I would say it comes hand in hand because in the design process, it's about the UI, UX, where should you place the buttons. But indirectly, the way you place certain features, for example, if you watch a video, a user can always like and they can comment. But if this isn't really visible to a user, this will also affect the product experience. So from what I understand, right, when we speak to customers or when we present Mixpanel, usually the UX and UI designer comes in together with the product manager to better understand how the user behavior or user journey affects the whole design experience. So this definitely comes in hand.
Okay. Great. Moving on, I think the next question that is coming up, more light. So I think the example shared today was more concerned on the B2C space. But Tarun is asking, can you give an example of how this can be used for B2B products? So any example where B2B companies are using Mixpanel?
All right, that's amazing. It's a good question. So Mixpanel, it's very suitable for both B2C and B2B. So we have customers like DocuSign, which is a B2B product. And the analysis revolves around not only about user, but also how different users in the company completes a funnel. So I'm not sure if I have an example here, but let me show you one of the potential. Okay, this might not be the best one, but it might give you a bit of insights or hindsight on how this works. So for example, if you look at this, Mixpanel is able to support analysis not only at user level, but potentially also on company level. So if you look at the B2B space, we usually cluster customers as users in an account or a company. And if you're looking at a funnel, so for example, let's say, imagine this funnel, right, is not done only by a particular user. Sorry, So imagine a funnel of purchasing is not done by a particular user, but done by a series of people. So for example, we might have an event let's call this approval of purchase. And this has to be done by a second person. So I'll just add a random event first before they check out. So if you're analyzing at a user level, right, this funnel will be broken because this part is not done by the same user. So in order to support a B2B analysis, what we need to analyze is this funnel at a company level. So we are looking at a funnel if anyone or any user is in this company going through this series of process to complete or show you the overall conversion rate. So that's how we are able to support B2B analysis. And with that, if we go into explore, what's very interesting is you not only can create cohorts based on user level, but you can also create segments at company level, account level, business level, or even item level. So this sort of granular analysis gives you really good information on how you want to analyze, at different companies level, user level, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So I'm taking a last question, maybe, and by Kishore Aditya. I'm just reframing this question slightly because it's still confusing to me. So, Rafael, what sort of people actually in an organization, what sort of functions do exactly, which functions exactly use Mixpanel as a consumer for data? So, what is Mixpanel? What sort of roles is Mixpanel suited for? And the question is slightly in a way for product and growth roles. What sort of tools are there for product and growth role individuals? If you would want to throw some light on that as well.
All right. Okay. So let me rephrase this. So the question is about for Mixpanel, which roles is Mixpanel suited for? Like product team. Okay. Great. So when for Mixpanel, by default, our highest amount of users is the product team, because it's still a very product-focused analysis tool. That would be the highest weightage. The second might be the engineering or data analysis or BI teams. So the reason is because despite them being able to use tools like BI tools, there are times they might not be able to derive the reports they want in real time. And one of the challenge of a BI tool is that they are not able to create reports like flows. And the reason is because in BI tools, most of the data is stored in relational. So this means it's like table, columns, and rows, whereas we actually ingest it at events. So this helps us to be able easily map user journeys that BI tools can provide. Apart from that, third in the list, we actually have growth teams. So the reason why growth teams isn't so high in terms of across product and engineering teams is because when we look at growth teams, the first tool they would usually get would be an engagement or marketing tool, because that helps them to drive revenue the quickest. So once they actually build the marketing campaigns and build campaigns to drive revenue, the next step they want to do is to go the next level to really take into or really use insights on how your user navigates the product and better understand the user's journey to improve the marketing. And one example is something like this. So I understand a couple of you asked how this can play along with also e-commerce. So very interestingly, in Mixpanel, you can actually build dashboards and very powerful dashboards like the customer lifecycle. And this is very suitable for the growth teams. So what you can do is to break down your user groups into the key different stages like leads, first-time customers, active and churn customers, and attach important insights that it's very valuable. So to elaborate a bit further, if we look at first-time customers, one of the challenge for growth teams is to understand how long it takes for a user to make the very first to the second purchase. With insights like this, and it tells you 18 days, what growth teams will do is they will use insights in Mixpanel to build automation campaigns. For example, send an email or a push notification after a user makes the very first purchase after 18 days in order to engage the user at the optimum time possible for the second conversion. So this is how Mixpanel can actually work very well with growth teams.
Great. So I think with this, I'll close the questions for now. Maybe a lot of other questions can be taken up with Siri, Nishit, and Rafael separately. And they might be available in the networking launch post this event also. So Rafael, do you want to open the contest, which probably a lot of audience might be waiting for?
Okay, so now on to the fun part. So after this session, Serene will be sending you guys an email for you to actually create a free Mixpanel account, which it contains a demo data set around very similar, but it's much simpler around the media industry. So all you need to do is to access it, and we have 3 quiz questions. So the first 20 correct submissions by the 25th of November, you stand a chance to win the gift card worth 1,000 Indian rupees. A round of applause, please.
Great. So I think this challenge is open for everyone who has attended the session throughout, and we'll be sending out an email with these details. You can just log in on Mixpanel, analyze that data. It might take a while and answer those quiz questions and answer them appropriately to stand a chance to win it. And that's also going to be a good hands-on for the next set of series of sessions that we're going to get for our this leg of analytics that we want to empower our community with. And yeah, apart from this, we also have a small surprise from the TPF community, and that is the brands decoded workshop that we are organizing on the 12th of December. We sort of giving a slightly discounted price to everyone who has attended today, and you can this price is only for just a few hours. Access it if you want to recommend other people, you can do that. It's a primary D2C conference, probably one of its kind, happening this year, and you should definitely check this out. Okay. So with this, I think thanks a lot, everyone, and thanks for joining us. And this has been amazing, Rafael. Thanks a lot for your
No
time
worries.
and all the in-depth explanations that you went ahead with. Thanks a lot, Serene, for handling that chat. I think people you might made a few friends today. They might be reaching out to you separately. Nishit, you want to grab a chance to speak anything to the Indian audience?
I think this is. I'm actually very excited to seeing a lot of. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I think no. This is actually great. Very excited, and I've actually never attended. Any sessions from the product folks, but this was absolutely amazing. Seeing a lot of people, and the interesting thing was like there was a constant engagement, constant questions flowing in, which was really amazing. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, I think all I would like to say is like just feel free to reach out to us if you guys have any questions. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, on our email, and yeah, we'll be happy to help.
Yeah. So I've also put Nishit's email on chat. You guys can reach out probably to learn more about Mixpanel or even sort of evangelize in your own company. Nishit would definitely be able to help you out in that case. With that, we sort of close this session, and we have another event tomorrow with AirMeets, the actual platform we are on, the founder of AirMeet, and probably those details have been shared on chat. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you so much for your support. Have a great weekend ahead, and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, guys. Enjoy.